And one of the central political science issue goes back to the reductionist nonsense that the economists have. They say you make this rational calculation, and you find out what the complete range of possible alternatives are, and you set them against the values that you attach to different sorts of outcomes, and you choose the best. Well, the problem is that sort of comprehensive rationality is completely impossible. Because you can't do that sort of calculation. You haven't got the data, you don't have the data, and even if you did have the data, you couldn't properly do the calculations because different people valued outcomes in different ways. And I'll come on to this in just a moment because that marks the second trend. But the other piece of work that I did was on the third London airport. Brilliant. Extraordinary, still going on saga, but this was the early 1970s version of exactly the same saga, and now I'm afraid my memory is a bit hazy because it's 2 disciplines away from me now, but I do remember doing serious work on transport forecasting and the way transport forecasts were built into the cost-benefit analyses that underlay the attempts at decision making. That's quite important for stuff that I did 5 and 10 years later. But at this point, there was fascinating stuff going on with a guy from the LSE whose name has escaped me for the moment, wrote a wonderful article showing that if you actually took the cost-benefit analysis that you were doing seriously and the set of values that were being fed into, the third London airport would actually be built on Hyde Park. Really? Well, I mean, this was. I mean, it's a nice. What's his name? Peter Self, and the subtitle of the article was "Nonsense on Stilts," but it's essentially the things you fed into the cost-benefit model are the things that came out. And so if you undervalue noise disamenity and you overvalue the cost of travel time from the city centre to the airport, that's how you that's how you arrive at Hyde Park, you see, and he made this point, and that was an important part of my education, but also it became an important part of my thesis, because what I realised was that you had to go back to the economics and think about theories of social justice and how you weigh competing preferences. The fact you couldn't actually weigh competing preferences, you know, you may maybe arrive at what an economist might call a rational solution, in that it maximised the total benefit to the society, but of course that total benefit involves imposing costs on one group of people and benefits on another group of people. What costs are acceptable in order to justify which benefits to other people? There's no answer to that other than a political one, and that was what I've worked out in. I mean, I should have known that to start with, but that's what my doctoral thesis ended up.